Hi, welcome to Matter Studio. It's Talk Tuesday. I'm Susan Buchser-Lochocki, running for President of the United States with the Green Party. And welcome. So today we're going to continue talking on women's issues. And we talked briefly in the last video. This is part 2, by the way. We talked briefly in the last video about what it means to be a woman, my sort of start as understanding the difference between men and women in text, especially in the United States documents. And now today we're going to continue talking about women and women's work. Now, I talked briefly about what comes naturally in a woman's life, starting with a girl and then becoming a woman and going into motherhood time and then menopause and then old age. So today I want to focus now on the concept of mother's pay and becoming a mother and how important that job is. So first off, I should talk about the fact that, we used to have this little traditional household where there was like a breadwinner, and through the money that the breadwinner would get, it was enough for the whole family, for the wife, for the children, and everything. And so indirectly, women were being paid at that time. But many, many years ago, the family unit started breaking down. And it wasn't working anymore the way it was. People were getting paid less, and things changed. So then, women started working more and more, and men too. And then at some point, the two salaries were not enough to really have a reasonable life and to have children. And there's been a lot of struggling going on. Now, for me, I see us as I would in an artwork. Okay, when I create a work of art, it starts off, you have an idea, and then you start moving towards it. And at some point, it gets really messy in the transition period between getting it started, putting down the base, getting things moving forward, and then there comes a time where it's really a mess. And I would say we're sort of a little bit at that place right now with the transition from somehow the old way of thinking before women were able to go to school and learn things and have careers and have jobs and be in the workforce. And then to sort of, we're at this stage where we've kind of lost the family unit a little bit. And I think it's time to bring that back. I think we see that happening a lot in the children, in the stress levels of everybody. And for me, I think the family unit is very important. So I'm moving in that direction with my policies and with what I would like to bring to the United States. I think we do need some sort of universal pay. I think it should be focused on women. I think giving women a universal pay called mother's pay, especially when you want to start that family. So let me backtrack a second, though. So as an artist, what you do then when it's all a mess is you start pulling things together, and then you end up with this beautiful thing. And so that's where I am. I'm looking at the United States and seeing this sort of craziness that we have going on there with people working 2 and 3 jobs, and they have to send their children to daycare, and the whole system is we've gotten away from our real natures, and we can't somehow get out of it without help. So that's what I'm trying to do, is find a way forward together, and let's get the help that's needed. So I think working with our normal natural tendencies, women are natural caregivers. I won't say all women, I will say most. I think men are also natural caregivers. I don't think that they're given that opportunity to express that as much as women are. So we need to also, expand our thoughts there. I also would like to see, father's pay, because of many reasons. So currently, with our system today, we have an education system that if you decide to go to higher education, you end up going into debt. There's a lot of student loan out there, and sometimes it's impossible to get out from under it. Now, you can't really start a family if you owe, $60,000. It's just not possible. So, you avoid it, and you don't get married, and you don't start that family, and you sort of get stuck in this work mode, and I think a lot of people find it eventually unfulfilling, but you wouldn't know that unless you saw the other side. So I think we're setting our children up currently with our current education system and the way that we pay universities and colleges so much money. Something has to change there for sure. I'm for free education, certainly in public schools. I can't say anything about private schools. They have their own issues. But I don't think federal funds should go to private schools. I think they should only go to public schools, and public schools should be free, in my opinion. And then we could get back to our natural nature of, having families and being educated at the same time. It is possible. So I just want to say a couple of things about motherhood before we get really into the job part of it. And motherhood is a beautiful and magical thing. It's also strenuous and can be challenging at times. It is, in my opinion, really the toughest job I've ever had that I absolutely love. I could not imagine anymore not being a mother. With that said, the first year is really hard. With the first child, it's really hard on your marriage too. And there's just a lot of new learning you have to do and a whole lifestyle change. But once you get through that, it's really beautiful, and you could never imagine going back to anything else. I think currently, right now, because everybody's working and trying to have it all at the same time, which again, I think there are stages in lives where you do certain things. Some things are more appropriate at this time and others at this time. It's not a hobby. So it shouldn't be, just something to have on top of your career and other things. It's a human being. You're raising the next generation. So it shouldn't be seen as just something to have, a hobby, and then you send it off to boarding school. Sorry, I know I'm not really talking to the rich people here. I'm talking to the normal, average Americans who aren't sending their kids off to boarding schools, but who are trying to maybe have it all, or they're just struggling to get by, and having difficulty making ends meet. So for me, I want to help you to have less stress and a better quality of life, period. That's my goal. And to do that, I think it's time that we see motherhood as a job. Being a mother is a job, and you should get paid for it. You should also get vacation time. You should also get benefits, so health care should come with it, and also a pension. So all these things should be part of motherhood. And I think it's really important. Yes. It's the most important job in the world, actually. You're creating our futures, all of our futures. And we want the future to be bright, and we want it to be happy and healthy. And we don't want it to be struggling. So one of my first things that I will do as president is to enact a mother's pay bill and get mothers to be paid. Now, I have expressed the concept of paying mothers in the cities as much as $100,000 a year, and in rural areas, $80,000. Because, during my visit in the U.S. recently, traveling around, there is a difference in price range in between the two areas, but there's also some things that are really high priced and some things that are really low priced. And what I'm trying to do is get everybody onto a nice, even level. So I don't have all the plans laid out yet, but I think that those are fair salaries, and they'll bring respect to the job, to women, and to, that's enough. It doesn't have to be more. So as being a mother, you do learn a lot of good skills too. And I've recently, about a year ago, I put on my resume, or maybe it was just 6 months ago when I started running for office, I put on my resume that I'm a mother and a wife. And these are two jobs that are unpaid currently, that should be paid. And what do I want to say? You should put them on your resume because it's real work. So the first thing and the best thing about it is if you have a child, you are clearly interested in the future of the planet, of the future of your country, and just of the future in general. So I personally like working with anybody who has a child because they are looking towards the future. They are thinking about what's best for their children. And so they have a good, understanding of how the world works. But the other skills that you get are crisis management, negotiation skills. You have to learn how to be available 24 hours a day in case you're needed. You have to be able to solve problems quickly. And you have to organize your life and other people's lives. You have to drive around a lot. So mommy taxis and things of that nature. You're also an event planner with all the birthday parties you get to organize too. Then you learn cooking for multiple people, cleaning, of course. You're a helper, you're a teacher, you're a cheerleader, a hostess, and a therapist. So these are all job skills. So truthfully, when you become a mother, it's like getting a university degree. It's an important job that you learn so many skills at. And it's really good to do it because of all the benefits that not only you get, but the world gets. So it's worthwhile to take that step. Now, I talk about mother's pay, but the mother doesn't necessarily have to be a woman. It can also be a man. And certainly in same-sex couples, it will be a man, most likely. Otherwise it would be a woman in a lesbian couple, of course. But it's time to see motherhood not as a hobby. It's not a volunteer position either. It's a job. And it belongs on your resume. And it's the most important job in the world. So I am working for you, moms out there. I hope that I get elected, and then we can make this a reality. I have my ideas, but, I'm running for president, and I'm interested in what your ideas are too. So please, if you like this idea and have your own thoughts about how it can go forward, contact me. Send me a message. And otherwise, I'm still, this is my thing. I'm going forward with it. Mother's pay. It's going to do the country a lot of good. It's going to help women. It's going to get more respect for women. And it will just help in so many ways to bring back that nice world, a slower pace. I guess here I should probably stop for a second and tell you a little bit about when I was being more of the stay-home mom that I am now. When my daughter was younger, one of the things that I used to do was I would organize events in our little town and invite a whole bunch of other moms with kids. And I would, organize like a Halloween party or like a New Year's party or like a Thanksgiving party. And then people would come and have a nice experience, a cultural experience. So we would share cultures too. And other moms would organize other things. So, when you're a stay-at-home mom, it doesn't always mean too that you're always at home or you're not working. But you are. There's always little things to do, reading groups to do. There's so many things. Girl Scouts. There's lots of opportunities and jobs available through being a mom to keep you busy and to keep you around other adults. Because I think that's one of the other fears that a lot of women have is to be around children all the time. But being around children is magical in its own way. You only know that by doing it. And then beyond that, there's plenty of adult company too. And on that note, I'm going to go. So I will, yes, this is going to be a lot of Talk Tuesdays. I wish you a nice day or evening, wherever you are. Thanks for tuning in. And I guess part 3 will be coming soon. Bye.